All right. Hello, everyone. Good morning. How is everyone doing today?
How many of you are awake?
All right. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Mohit. I'm a developer advocate here. And today we're going to talk about how you can improve your application performance with Scale Center and ApexGuru. I have Karishma with me, who is the product owner for this. Karishma, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi, everybody. Karishma Nalvani. I'm the Senior Director of Platform Products. And the products that we'll talk about today, Scale Centers, we'll touch upon a little bit of Scale Test, ApexGuru, are all the products part of one portfolio. And I am a certified technical architect. So whatever we've built as a team is all the pain points that I saw personally on the field, being an architect, being a developer before that, to close the gap when it comes to building scalable applications on the platform. So super excited to talk about those.
All right, before we move further, there are going to be some forward-looking products that we will show here, especially on winter 25 release. So please make sure that you make your purchasing decisions based on only features that are currently available. With that, first I want to start off by saying thank you. Thank you for helping us innovate our products better, pushing us to, excel. And today's agenda, how many of you are developers here? Okay. Architects? Okay. Admins? Okay. We do have admins as well. Perfect. Welcome, everyone. So how many of you, face issues like CPU timeouts, roll-locks, governor limits, and stuff like that? All the time, right?
Yeah.
All the time.
I'm
yes.
looking at the ones who haven't, and I'm like, what's your secret?
Yeah, ones who haven't probably, I think, they have architected it really well, probably, with multiple orgs and stuff. Our goal today is to, show you live how to reproduce some of these errors, and then we'll show you the roadmap that we have for Scale Center and ApexGuru and share some useful resources. How many of you have turned on Scale Center in your orgs? Okay.
Two.
Only two hands. Our goal end of this session is to help you understand the product, and then we'll ask you again. We'll ask you again if you want to turn it on or not. So I hope it's going to be fun. Now, before I get started, I know for a lot of you, as you said, you haven't worked on these products. So how about, Karishma, we take a quick minute here,
yes,
explain what is
absolutely.
Scale Center and ApexGuru?
Absolutely. So the goal of both ApexGuru and Scale Center is to really unlock those performance insights and data that is trapped behind our monitoring systems today. Up until last year, for the last 2 decades, there's been a huge gap on the platform where either you test or you run into a limit. You really don't know why it's happening and what could be the root cause. And then you have to rely on a lot of people to figure it out. And by the time you figure it out, you've lost a couple of days of productive time. So both Scale Center and ApexGuru is a step forward in this space to provide you insights, self-service in your org. Scale Center is the umbrella product. It has everything around metrics, telemetry, insights, trending, and analysis and reports that you will see. Whereas ApexGuru is purely a developer-focused product where we are actually giving you insights into the line of code to talk about whether it's going to scale or not. And then we are giving you recommendations using our GenAI code gen model to tell you what the code should rather be. So we look into both of these as we go along.
Perfect. CPU timeouts, how about, instead of just talking, maybe I create the CPU timeout through the demo. Let's do it. Excited. So this is a simple Lightning component, and I'm going to click on this button. And you know what, Karishma? I've written a lot of code. I want this code to fail only this time. Only this time. Not in my production orgs, but I really want to fail now so we can actually show timeouts. But for those of you who don't know timeouts, any process that's going to take more than 10 seconds, we CPU timeout them. So any transaction, right? You think about your triggers or you click a button, right? That's the transaction. It starts, and if you have multiple processes like flows, Apex, all of that count. And we want our processes to be, 10 seconds, that's it. That's the CPU time that we give, and we hope that, you accomplish all your processes within that. And other than that, we'll fail you, right, and say CPU timeout. And it's very common, if your developers have written code which is not efficient, you can get into these issues. So other example that I'm showing, again, I want this process to fail here. I'm processing a large data volume. This is another common scenario where you're querying, let's say, more than 50,000 records or something. You're trying to process it and you get this error. Schema describes are another big culprit in my opinion. Like if you have inefficient schema describes, what is schema describes, everyone here, right? It basically gives information about your metadata, but if you don't use it in an effective way, you're going to get into one of these CPU errors again. So that is CPU errors in real time, right? But the challenges for developers is usually when they build the code, as Karishma was saying, they don't see these errors because that's not the production data. But in production, as your application grows, your data grows, right? And it is also your processes grows. So all of them actually accumulate, and then you hit this error. A lot of times, you don't give them the production logs, etc. So it's a challenge for them, and that's where I'm really glad that we have this monitoring product that's not going to be only used, not only for architects or admins, it's also for developers, as we saw. So here I'm in the org performance. Again, you can find Scale Center by just going to the Scale Center. And Karishma, is this available for, what edition of orgs?
Yeah, so Scale Center and ApexGuru, you'll see right under it. Both of these, if you have unlimited edition, these will be available and you just need to go and turn it on. Or if you have signature success plans, even if you're not unlimited edition, but you're facing significant scale issues, reach out to us and we will turn it on for your org. But this is included. There's no cost to turn these on. So just go and hit the enable button and you'll start seeing the insights.
Yeah, and then, let's go back to, 24 hours before and see, if we have these errors that we just recreated here.
Yeah, and one thing about Scale Center is that the data is real time. So anything that you've done as recent as 10 minutes ago, the data will start showing up in Scale Center. So it's as real time as we can get.
Yeah, and you can go 4 hours, 12 hours, you can even go custom here. That's the option that I
the custom is we go back 30 days. So if you've done some tests, you can go up to 30 days in history and, get that data as well. And it's available in production and full copy sandboxes. So it can be used for production monitoring as well as performance testing in a full copy.
Yeah, and as you can see here, right, what we can see is you can see the spikes happening here. You see there are 173 Apex CPU timeouts in blue. And we could always click on it and then do, drag over the time frame. And then we can start analysis, for example, consolidated report, where it gives you a consolidated view of, okay, what went wrong, what processes went wrong, what Apex classes went wrong. So you can perform that performance analysis, and you can also, filter it out. Let's say you are only interested in maybe, governor limits or row logs, or for example, only the Apex summary. So you can filter it as well. So in the interest of time, I have already just those cooking shows, right, where they do the cooking probably 1 hour and show it in 2 minutes. This takes time. So, but I've created this, so we can take a look at that. So as you can see, right, we can look at the Apex summary here, and it will tell you which classes are actually slowest, which classes are most used, which are the exceptions that we are getting, the long running synchronous calls. So you can see, and this metrics is really helpful for developers to actually know what is, the entry point and what is the cost for this. As you can see, these are my classes that are actually causing the exceptions. So with that, how about we move on to the solution? What are some of the recommended solutions when our developers hit this?
Yeah, so right now what you see is a lot of telemetry that we show. We are moving towards the framework where we give you recommendations in app as well. We've done that for certain areas, but for those of you who have something right now and you want to take away, some of the solutions that we recommend for, especially for long running, right? Most common ones is based on your business requirement, make it asynchronous, break it up into smaller transactions and make it asynchronous so that it doesn't hold that thread at the CPU for 10 seconds to avoid the timeout. Also, platform cache is great. How many of you use platform cache here? Yeah, I'm a huge advocate. It is very underutilized product, but it's an amazing product. So anytime you want to query data often, use platform cache because then you won't hit the database at all. And that's a very powerful feature, especially processing large data volumes. And also data cloud, right? Wherever applicable, see how your use cases fit in. You don't need to store everything in the core app. It could be archived, it could be on data cloud and other things, other strategies from an architecture standpoint.
Yes, data cloud actually enables you to think, your architecture really in a different way. And there are a lot of features, like we are integrating these to platform well. So there are a lot of features, that you can definitely leverage and make sure that when you run into large data volumes and CPU timeout, those can help. The next thing that I want to talk about is concurrency and row lock. Again, a lot of you said you hit these limits in your org, right? How about we actually show one, live here to show you a concurrency issue. So what I'm going to do here is, Karishma, I have 2 use cases.
Yep.
So the first use case is, what I'm doing is, I'm creating like 25 number of queuable Apex. How many of you use queuable Apex? Okay, it's asynchronous process, right? Imagine you have like 25 number of them trying to do the same thing. You see, every job was trying to access the same record, and we had a for update in our code which was supposed to lock this. So other records are not able to get access, and that is what is row lock about. And we usually have this, in multiple scenarios, especially when we see this when developers, sort of work with, I would say inefficient architecture where the architects have designed the data model in such a way that, for a parent record, maybe there are more than 10,000 records. We call them as, SKUs. Again, it could be ownership SKUs. Let's look at another process here. So here what I'm doing is, this is on click of this parent account button, I have a process which is basically taking all the opportunity records and updating it. So because there are more than 10,000 opportunity records here, it's going to take some time. And let's say I click on my other button here, which is update parent account, which is trying to access the same parent account. It's going to lock. So let me show you that. So here I placed a lock, and you can see that, it's going to, I want this process to fail here, only time I want the thing to fail, really. But you will see here that, you see, update failed because record is not available. The record you are attempting to edit or one of its related record is currently modified by another user. Very common scenario. I've seen this in integration, especially when you have MuleSoft and things like that.
Yeah.
Maybe your integration process is, getting hold of a record and it is putting, a parent record in lock state. And maybe you have a Lightning component or Visualforce page or a trigger trying to do the same access. And you run into these issues. And again, it's pretty simple with, with the performance analysis. You can actually do a performance analysis on this. It will show up on your org performance too. But if you actually go to the row lock here in Scale Center, you can pinpoint the actual user who caused the lock, like you can see here, actual entity or the object that it was caused. And you can also look at, the locked record here. And more than that, what I like is it will tell you the exact process or the Apex class that is responsible for that lock, right? So it's going to give you that entire visibility into that. So Karishma, how do we actually solve, are there any solutions for this rollout?
Yeah, you talked about integration. One of the other common use cases, we all need to migrate data. If we are going from legacy system to Salesforce, the first use case that you have to solve for is bring that data into Salesforce and using bulk API. A lot of times those things also can cause locking, especially if the record distribution is not accurately represented. So one of the most common suggestions we say is spread your child records, keep it under 10,000 to avoid that data skew, the ownership skew that Mohit was talking about. And if you're doing the bulk API operation and the queue itself, the job itself is timing out, reduce the batch size so that it gets processed in a shorter time, or switch to serial. Sometimes I've seen serial can go faster if you have a very complex data model. And then for the call out piece, the concurrent Apex, if you have backend services that are taking significantly longer than 5 seconds, the best way is to move them again in a continuations pattern, which is an async way to do call outs to backend services. That will mitigate the concurrent Apex issue. And regardless, let's say you've done everything and you're still hitting it, go to Scale Center and ApexGuru and we will tell you exactly where the problem is. And with ApexGuru, you'll now see that we are also recommending how to fix that. So we'll show you that next.
Yeah, how about we show ApexGuru with this topic, governor limits, which I think a lot of you actually hit it. Again, I have simple example to show you. We can hit a couple of governor limits. You're all familiar with it. 101 SOCL issues or 150 DML issues, or, we can hit this call out limit if you are making 100 call outs in a synchronous transaction, right? So you'll see that all these limits are going to be hit. Again, you can find all of them in performance analysis. You can go look at, the governor limit section here and you will definitely get the analysis. But I want to talk about ApexGuru here, since we brought it up. So with ApexGuru Insights, what we give you is also, we are not just telling you that this is the process or this is the thing that is causing this. We are also telling you code, like here in this case, right? We have this, describe it is pretty inefficient. And we are telling you, you should use, this way of doing it using deferred mode instead of, global describing everything. So you see, and, I'm excited to share that Karishma and team is adding more APIs. Like we are trying to figure out what are some of these APIs which are actually causing CPU timeouts and show you alternate, Apex suggestions for them. So that's going to be baked into the product, and this is going to get better and better. With definitely ApexGuru, and you can also download the reports and generate.
You can download it, and one quick call out: if you have like an org that has been there for 10-15 years, if you use the unused classes and methods tab there, that actually gives you the list. It's like an inventory of things that your org is not executing. You can actually clear a lot of character code limits by just going to this tab and seeing what that technical debt is to reduce your character count.
And again, we have these solutions. Take a screenshot of this. There are some solutions here. Please take a screenshot. We are,
bulkification. And really the goal for these products is, today if you run into it, we don't want you to chase down 10 people from Salesforce to understand how to fix it or read tens of documents, best practice documents. We want this to be in-app. We want this to be right in front of you in terms of why a limit was hit, what is the root cause, what can you do about it in terms of fixing it, and that recommendation piece that you see right then and there.
Yeah, we are baking those recommendations into the product. Last feature I want to talk about is database performance. Again, this is one of those things, our developers struggle with. So how about we show, something that is coming up in Winter 25?
Is Safe Harbor roadmap. These are all new features that Mohit will walk through.
Yeah, so first, one of the features will be org overview. So it will quickly give you an overview of your org performance, the peak traffic. It will tell you which Lightning components, which Apex classes, which triggers are being utilized. So this is something that is coming. But what I wanted to show you was the database performance here. So database insights is what we call.
Yes.
Yeah. So here you can see that, we can go and look at these SOCLs. So you can see that, we have a SOCL identified here, and we also give you recommendations of what you can do with it. Like, for example, this probably requires an indexing here, right? So you can see that, and we give you these suggestions and recommendations, and we are also integrating that query planner that you are used to in tooling API or using developer console. So again, we are integrating that, making sure everything is single interface, easier to use, and we'll also show recommendations. We'll not only spot those issues, but we'll try to recommend it to make your life really easier. And with that, right, Karishma, we have exciting roadmap.
Yeah, let's talk about roadmap. So quick call out on the right, you'll see a barcode, that QR code that you can scan. This is for the pilot. And some of the pilots that we are excited to launch at Dreamforce this year is, you saw ApexGuru gives you in-app guidance, but we are starting a code analyzer pilot where you can integrate it and bring insights within code analyzer with the goal of shifting further left. And a couple of callouts on Scale Center. We're building more and more AI-driven models for anomaly detection, for forecasting, for prediction, so that we are able to predict in case you are running into a peak event coming up. We will tell you whether your code is scalable or not, whether you need to optimize anything. So tons of innovations coming. We're barely getting started. You saw a few platform areas, but we have a huge roadmap to cover every platform area in the product.
And that's awesome. That's awesome. And, as you said, you're just getting started with all of these, So these are some of the resources for all of you. Again, we'll have the slides in the app as well. There are other sessions that happened yesterday probably, or today. So check these sessions out as well. Thank you for coming. And now how many of you will turn on the Scale Center for your orgs? And
awesome.
One of the questions I get asked is, does it have any performance cost of
No. Everything that you see here, only the UI is in the setup, but all our architecture is off course. So there are no performance implications to turning on Scale Center.
Yes.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you,
Thanks
everyone,
for coming
joining,
in.
and please share your feedback.